NCRP Productions presents Dread by the Impossible Dream, The Mothman Chronicles, Episode 3 and Conclusion.
Hi, it's Sequoia, and I'd like to thank you for joining us here in the woods of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Where we last left off, our player characters had just wrenched open an elevator that led down into uncertain zones. We're going to go around the table, and I'd like you to talk about who your character is, who you are, and what's going through your mind as you go down in this elevator. We'll start with Dave.
Hi, it's David. I'm playing Silas Garrity, the outback, south woods, in the cuts, corn-fed, moonshine making.
You just need to say inbred, and you cover all those things.
Well, no, because, I didn't, I don't know if I'm inbred or not. I think I just have all the other
accoutrements,
qualities, right? But, I'm really worried about Jimmy's mental state of being. He's seeing things. He's convinced that he's seeing things. I'm not going to, I'll admit something definitely, there was some foul play. Something naughty happened here. And still not quite sure whether I necessarily want to know or how much I want to know. But I know the government's behind it. They always are. And, if nothing else, this trip has proven to me, it's confirmed all of my theories over the years, just how corrupt the government really is and how diabolical their agendas are. And, I don't know that at the end of this that we're going to have any more answers to Eddie's disappearance than what we had when we first started. But, it's definitely a story to tell.
Hey everybody, it's Pedro. I'm playing Jimmy, the one that he was just talking about. I, at this point, am basically just self-righteous. I see now that, as far as I can tell, I was right. Even if they had other experiments here, this place, I feel now, is probably the cause of what's going on here with the Mothman. They angered it. Something happened here. And now I don't know, even I'm having some doubt that the Mothman was, maybe he wasn't the cause of this. Maybe he was trying to lead us here so we could discover what was going on. But what I know is that everyone's called me crazy for 20 years, and I now have proof in my backpack that, as far as I can tell, to my mind, I'm not insane. There's something going on here that fits in line with the Mothman, or something that at least says something crazy was going on here. And with Jimmy's corpse washing up 10 years older, Eddie's, I can't get it right. There's too many E's at the end.
We'll have to put like a dummy with Eddie's body.
But the point is, it wouldn't be far from my character being spazzed out right now. Something happened to Eddie here, and either the Mothman was a part of that, trying to warn him against that, or something. But I need to see this through. There is nothing that will stop me from seeing what's down here.
Okay.
And honestly, I hope that by the end of this, my friends realize that I'm not insane, that they believe me.
Okay.
Hi, this is Barry. I'm running Al Cook, and I'm completely convinced that Jimmy is insane. More importantly, all those years ago, I was pretty sure that something terrible had happened to Eddie, and that terrible thing was sexual in nature. I'm now beginning to comfortably believe that that was not the case. Do I think it's the Mothman? Do I think it's some green men from Mars, anything like that? Hell no. But I can see that something happened. The word abduction does come to mind, and now it's a question of trying to figure out, is it important to find out what happened to Eddie? I'm really not sure, but I'm not going to leave my friends in a lurch, so I'm going to stick with it. But pretty much, I'm ready to go. Home.
Hi, this is Josh. I am playing Johnny Williams, Jimmy's twin brother. And admittedly, at first, I was doing this to kind of humor Jimmy, and I was just going along. I was enjoying hanging out with my old friends again, but the further we got into things, the more strange things began to happen, and then finding Sarah Jane's skeleton was sort of the linchpin for me to kind of, want to find out what's going on here. And I feel like, at the very least, even if we don't find Eddie, we can find some sort of explanation that can help my brother Jimmy really move on from this Mothman nonsense and get on with his life, but what I kind of hold deep inside is that, there is an explanation for Eddie's disappearance, and we will find it if we keep going, whether it's the Mothman or not. So, part of me is kind of hoping for the best.
Okay, so the elevator is not something that any of you are comfortable being in. It is moving, which tells you a few things. It kind of cranks down and down and down until finally you hit the bottom. The first thing that you notice is this musty stench of urine and waste and rot. And you smelled it kind of on the way down, but now that you've settled, it is foul. It's suffocating. The air down here is hot and humid, and you detect an electrical hum that has been absolutely absent in the rest of this town.
Isn't it that deep, overbearing ammonia smell?
Yeah,
Urine?
it smells like basically any. It doesn't just smell animal to you though. It smells foul.
Do you think my first aid kit might have masks in it? Surgical masks? I don't know.
2007? No.
Probably not, yeah. Okay, well, I'm gonna pull the little thing over my face. I don't know what's happening down here. Why is there still electricity?
Just the fact that the elevator moved is a surprise to everybody.
I hoped the
No, we
button
did do it
worked,
by
but
crank.
Right.
I was assuming we would have to do it by manual.
Has it been an auxiliary power source or something?
So there's a cage in front of you. You'll have to move it to get out.
Try and move it.
It moves easier than the one up top. This is less exposed to the elements than that one was.
Okay, yeah, and lantern forward.
It's lit down here.
Oh.
It's kind of like an older orangey bulb.
Sodium lights.
Yeah, it's
Like
not
Doom. The video game.
it's not comforting. Feel free to keep your flashlights out. They would be a cleaner, quote unquote light.
I would keep my lantern out, but
Okay.
I would keep it down by my side.
And this is kind of a long hallway, and you see a door at the end of the hallway.
So before we get completely away from the elevator, realizing that something is active and we did not turn it on, I want to look at the elevator and see if there's any indication that it's been used. I don't know what I would be looking for, but possibly dust patterns or mud patterns.
Yeah.
Does it look like anything other than us has come down in it?
Yes, absolutely. It doesn't look like there's a lot of traffic,
But
but
there's some.
there's-
That is newer than 40, 60 years ago.
yeah, everywhere else pretty much has like a carpet of dust on it. This elevator has dust streaks, but something has moved through it.
I'm gonna keep my crowbar in my right hand and the lantern in my left.
Gang, I think something's down here.
I'll pull
Not
out the
just looking.
surgical tubing off my belt loop,
Okay.
wrap the ends around each hand,
Do you think that
garrote.
Okay.
the government
Take
still
Take out
comes
my
down
Swiss Army
here?
knife and
It
find the
could
biggest
be.
blade that they have on
I was
there.
thinking
Could
the
be
corkscrew.
government. It
Vile.
could be-
Yeah, I pulled the corkscrew out
Corkscrew.
accidentally.
I have no idea.
But now that I have time to figure it out, I want to get the sharp one.
I don't know. We
Let's
just need
take it slow.
we need to move forward. Yeah, I'll go first. Just watch my back. And if you see any red lights, shout it out.
Do you remove the film from your
Yeah.
flashlight?
The red cover.
No.
Okay. As you move towards the door at the end of this hallway, you realize that it looks like an airlock door.
Like
Is there
an
like a-
irising type, or
Like, is there a wheel on it for me to? Al, if you pop this, I'll go in first. Or if you want to hold my
All right, so
crowbar.
hold up. What are we thinking's on the other side? You don't just throw a door like this in here.
Is there a little
I mean,
window?
honestly, at this point, this looks like a wasteland bunker.
There's no window. There is one of the wheels to open it, and it's old. It's not, as I said, it's not exposed to the elements, so it's not as rusty. There is rust along the hinges and any place where there could be some exposed underneath, like the enamel coating.
I will touch the door. Is it frigid, or is the outer layer, is it metal, just kind of metal cool? What I'm looking at is if it's frigid, there might be some like water on the other side or something.
No,
No.
it's not hot. It's not cold. It's a little colder than room temperature. There is a layer of condensation on it from just the humidity. I mean, it is smug. What's the word?
Humid.
Sultry.
Yeah, it's humid. It's very humid. It's very hot and damp.
If you guys want to wait by the elevator while I open this, that's fine.
I'm going to the door with Jimmy.
Okay.
I'm opening this.
Well, I'm assuming I'm at the door.
Yeah,
You have to roll. So the last thing I'm going to do is look around and see if there's anything that's going to. I mean, I've seen 2001 by now. Is there anything that I think that would have a repressure, a button, a cord, anything? What I'm looking for is something that suggests to me the other side is pressurized. So just flipping this thing open without doing anything is going to fire out oxygen, water, heat, something.
You don't see any kind of like tubing going into the door. I mean, really, you're in a hallway with a door at the end.
Little digital, or not digital, but light bulbs that could light up that are burned out, holes like that.
No, but you do see that there's a black rubber lining around the outside of the door.
That's why I'm thinking it's an airlock. That's why I'm thinking there might be something on the other side.
Yeah. One thing that you do notice as you're kind of taking a closer look is that there's drips from the ceiling where there's kind of like a crease above the air seal where it kind of meets the ceiling, and there's a red liquid that is seeping down. It looks like it's been seeping down there for a long time. It in some
Red
places.
like rust? Rust is
see.
pretty specific.
Do you point it out to anybody?
Yeah, I'll mention it to everyone.
You recognize this as what it looks like when the D&T is seeping out of the ground.
Oh,
Shit.
I thought it was probably.
Fuck. Don't get that on you. That's DNT and that's DNT. You don't want that on you. Oh shit! And I'll rub my hands on my pants the best I can. Fuck. And I'll look in my. I don't have anything to use for that.
You don't have any antitoxin.
No. What I'm looking is for anything to like put over that. I don't have anything to throw over it. Just open it quick.
Give me a sec, I got this. Take out the DQ bag. Unwrap 2 of the burgers, huck the burgers, use the wrapper, which is plastic in lining and paper outside, and I'm going to open the earlock.
Nice.
So there's no breaking of a seal. The door opens.
Doesn't whoosh.
No.
Okay.
And what you see is a chamber with vents on the ceiling and seats and some old suits. They're like, you think that they were probably once some kind of biohazard suit, but have now completely broken down. And there's kind of like the armature of a hood and a glass hanging from a tattered where a faceplate would have been.
Like hazmat suits.
But the plastics have all broken down. The other side is another door. You can see the kind of the mirror of the first one, but it faces the other way, and it is ajar.
If I'm looking around here, does this look like a test room? Does it look like a
This looks
meeting
like
room?
some kind of chamber that could be pressurized.
This would be the area you'd place between this and the other door for any number of reasons.
Decontamination room where it has blows the air on you as you walk through.
Could be anything like that.
That would be a good guess.
Okay, well we can't use the
But the other
suits.
side's already open.
Correct.
So
There's no seal on that side.
Let's just move forward. I'll just move towards the other door.
So I'm continuing to regularly look at the ceiling looking for those red drips.
In
I'll
here,
point
there
it
are
out.
none. This
Alright.
does seem
But
like
I'm saying the
yeah.
whole way through.
Sure.
I'll point it out if I see it.
Yeah, and anywhere where there's kind of like an opening, like the earth shifted, maybe you'll see that. It's not everywhere, but
So we're guessing it's so that suggestion suggests to me that it's seeping from above.
correct.
Okay.
Okay, I'll head to the other door.
Okay, it is ajar.
I'll open it up and shine the lantern in.
So this is a similar hallway, but there are 2 doors branching off from the hallway. And there are large windows.
Okay, well guys, there's two more doors over here and some windows. Let's go see what we find.
Immediately to your left, you see 6 large glass, what do you want to call them?
Cylinders?
Yeah,
Okay.
and they're tanks.
Tubes, whatever you want to
Tubes, and there are figures inside.
Is that through the window?
So they're like interior windows between
So-
the hall and the room. Okay.
So I would go over to it, shine the light, look in there, and anybody else coming behind me would just
Yep.
see me awestruck staring in there.
Looking closer, you see that these are elderly people. They look like the oldest people you've ever seen.
There are.
So they're inside tanks, inside another room.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
a
So
laboratory.
There's basically a,
We gotta get in
view
there.
window.
Yeah.
I'll head towards the door if it's visible.
Okay.
to see
Yeah,
if
it
it's
absolutely
locked.
is. It's just a door. Yeah, push it open.
What were they doing here? And then I'll follow in with them.
If someone wants to give me a pull, I could shed some light.
I'll do it if nobody wants
For a
to.
pull.
I'm the crazy leader guy, although you did say you go in first.
I did.
Okay,
Yeah,
good,
you did. Absolutely,
Okay.
Josh.
Okay, let's see.
Josh goes in and headlock off.
On the other side of the hallway, there is just a normal wall with a door. You
No
cannot
window?
see. No window. Actually, no window.
Choices.
real good here.
So how big is the room that we're looking through the, I'm going to say, view screen or window?
It's not huge. I would say like
You can go from
Is it,
that
this
so
wall.
one
we've
down.
got 6 larger than human sized tubes. How many of those tubes could fit in?
One finger at a time.
Twice as many, 4 times as many?
you could probably fit 4 times as many if you were to put them side by side by side.
Yeah, so it's a good size.
It's a decent sized room, yeah.
Do we see anything else in there? Well, let me start with the tubes themselves. Do we see them topped and bottomed with something? Do they look like they're enclosed?
Yeah, they're enclosed and there are air bubbles going through them.
Like an air stone in a
It's worse putting it on top than it is getting it out.
So, on the last thing I'll ask before we
Now-
go to Josh,
now the weight
is there anything over their mouths and
No,
noses?
there's nothing-
So they're in the liquid,
They're-
aerating.
So yeah, maybe we need to air out the top a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was worried about the tower strategy, not the room
Yeah.
strategy.
So Josh made his pool on our rickety tower.
Oh,
And so what you see upon entering is you get a little closer, you see that each of these elderly folks have a umbilical cord, for lack of a better word, trailing up into the top of the tube. And you remember something that got mentioned about extended amniotic fluid exposure.
oh. So are they like we can't tell if they're moving or we haven't seen them move at all? But
No, but there's you see bubbles.
yeah. So I'll head over to the nearest tank
Okay.
and just sort of kind of see if they respond to me in any way. Maybe tap the glass.
When you tap the glass, there's kind of like a wriggle of the elderly person, and they don't open their eyes, but they kind of curl down a little bit,
Whoa.
and then they relax again.
If he's going,
Yeah,
to
who's in the
people,
room?
I'm going in, and I'm gonna
are.
be. I would see them and immediately be like, okay, so they're in there doing something. I'm gonna look around the room, see if there's any notes, files, folders.
Yeah, there's
Computers.
a table. There's some not computers, but there's some typewriters. There's files that you could look through.
Yeah, I'll just go quickly pull through there. They labeled it all.
They're not they're kind of what they like is chart notes from a
Yeah.
hospital, and they're talking about each of the subjects, and they call them subject 1, 2, 3.
I'll say, Johnny, are there any labels on there? Subject 1, 2, 3, subject
Look around,
something.
Check the tanks. Or
Nothing on the tank.
Anything like any clipboards hanging from anything around the tank or.
No.
I'm going to step in and look closely at them. My suspicion is that if it's an extended amniotic fluid test, is these were fetuses transplanted in here. And they have continued to grow inside the amniotic fluid, making them 70 plus years old.
Yeah, you would get a chip if I could give one.
I am going to pull the
That's super
test
disturbing.
3 and look at that one.
Okay.
That's subject number 3.
So they're dated within weeks of the closure of this facility.
Okay.
You think it's safe to assume that the last time someone looked at them in a scientific viewing was then.
These.
Scraggly,
Just-
strangly hair,
Yeah, they have
ridiculously long fingernails.
Each exactly.
So
nasty.
does the chart note corroborate that these subjects were fetuses put into
So
the tube?
what these charts they don't tell.
They don't talk about the experiment.
They don't have an extended window. They have this is maybe a month or two's gathering of information, and it talks about how they're progressing nicely and doing exactly what they expect. The subjects are now 5 years old. There's an increase in the nutrient intake that they need, and there's some interesting bone density readings that they're getting.
This is insane. They were experimenting on these people. This one talks about bone density. They were growing people.
They were. I mean, they still are technically. Look.
Do you look
they're
at
still
any
alive.
other of the clipboards?
Yeah. A little bit more.
So the one for the 5th one, it's a man. You can tell by his genitals, and what a note says in a more feminine hand. You can tell that some of these are very messy, and then there's a curly Q script
Cursive.
saying, "My money's on this one for the big win," and there's a little smiley face.
They were betting on these things growing. This is...
Are you sure it was betting on growing and not betting on surviving?
surviving...
Well, they all
Big
survived,
difference.
right?
They all grew, and who knows if they survived?
Well, they're all still alive, aren't they?
Are we
They're
sure?
reacting to some type of...
So Johnny's only tapped on one of the glasses.
I go tap on one of the glasses.
Same thing. It's exactly like any kind of video you've seen of a fetus in the womb, where it reflexively, there's a reaction.
Is there a lid to this thing?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to pop the lid. I'm going to siphon
Whoa,
out the
what are you
amniotic
doing?
fluid
So
with the surgical hose.
there's a stepladder in this room.
All right, cool.
The surgical hose.
Stain,
So
what-
you
what-
all see him.
He's like,
Yeah, exactly.
Stain,
You
what the
see
fuck are
him
you
going
doing?
and getting a stepladder and
that
pulling
part's
it
not
over.
going to set us off. But the minute
And then he
starts
climbs
unscrewing
up,
the top,
and there is what you see is a wheel.
Yeah, turn the wheel.
Stain, what are you doing?
I'm giving birth.
These people are alive. If they've
We
been
don't know
going
what
like
could
that,
happen.
the brain function wouldn't be enough to sustain. They wouldn't be able to talk. You're
I
gonna.
don't know.
Do you turn the wheel?
I turn the wheel.
We don't know.
The water begins flooding out, bottom down,
on the floor,
No.
or to something.
to something. And the person inside begins
Get me the
thrashing.
hell outta here. Okay.
And
Is it male or female?
it's
You're
a female.
killing it.
It's female. And my question would be, my first question would be this. Underarms and pubic region is their hair.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they have gone through some level of,
So the
some
water's
level of
draining
puberty, but not
slowly.
through-
And this person is still eyes closed, still, weakly kind of thrashing. And it's obvious to you that they're not going to be able to support themselves as they hit the ground.
Okay.
And so when you turn the wheel, it didn't open, it released a valve.
Okay.
Wait, try and see if it'll fill back up.
You're
This
killing
thing's
it.
gonna be tortured.
We don't know that.
We don't know that. Look, these things. If they were grown,
We could be
look.
setting
The water's
fluid.
about
Think about a
50%
baby
down.
in the womb, right?
Yes, but you're giving birth to some. If this is a baby, they're not going to be able to function.
This
you are
this
literally.
thing's legs can't support its weight.
So
Crying out loud, Stain.
Find a cart.
my background, before even any of this
Yeah.
shit, my background is I work at a medical research center
Oh.
called Ventius
There you go.
in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
My brain's completely going to other things. So how many female subjects?
There are 3 females and
So
3
the one
males.
he drained was female. I'm going to go to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
One of the main things I noticed is there's pubic hair, there's underarm hair. I'm assuming there's some small facial hair in areas growing as they've aged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of them have. Well,
But
some
the
of them.
tank is not filled with blood, so they went through puberty. I am looking, without moving anything, I am looking for a filtration system for the fluid.
In the basin beneath their
I
feet, you
think
can
I
see
a
that.
filtration.
Yeah.
Okay, so that explains that, because there may not be much in the way of feces, but there will definitely be urine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and nothing's connected to urethras, penises, anal.
The umbilical cord is the only thing that connects.
So I would assume anything coming out of the body is going into the fluid.
Correct.
Okay.
It's like feeding off the fluid.
So it's 25% down now. This person is now crumpled at the bottom of the tube and is just kind of weakly turning and
Stain, you've condemned this person
I
to horror.
think, Jimmy, they're already condemned. I don't
I don't
know.
know. Yeah.
you begin to hear a choking noise.
See? The breathing starts.
No.
The airway's going to...
The breathing, not if it's... Think about the amount of volume that lung has got to produce, having never sucked in oxygen. It's like, let's say that there was a pandemic,
Right.
and you were shoving tubes down people's throats to help them breathe,
Right.
and then you were to yank that out and force them to breathe on their own, having been on that breathing apparatus for 3 weeks. Most of them die because you got collapse of lungs.
Guys,
Something like that could happen in the
The
Should I
world.
close
choking
the valve? We'll just leave
continues.
them in the fluid?
I just walk over.
I think we've
and
lost
I just put my
I think
hand
they're
on
gone to begin with,
the
probably.
tank, and I just. This is our burden now. So
This
We have no right to be messing with this. stuff. We
blind,
should be calling the
vulnerable,
authorities.
soft creature is choking in the tube.
Stain, this person could have.
Actually,
If we got people
if there's
down here,
25%
they
of
could have
the
been
moisture is
saved.
out, and it has
It's still-
collapsed below that level.
So if I close the valve,
No, so
does it
where-
begin to
yeah.
refill? So I close the valve and see if it begins to refill.
It does not refill.
Okay, there's probably a way for it to
from each
refill.
one.
That's right. Yeah.
That's not. No, I mean if it works like birth out of the amniotic
We have
fluid,
no business
the minute
You-
it
messing
moves,
with any of this
You
equipment.
watch this person struggle until they go still.
All right.
Don't
That
touch.
one done.
Nobody packed.
Next.
Nobody touches any more of these things.
I go back over to the file cabinet. I take several of the clipboards and just take the paper off. Just like, let's say, 5 of them. Grab them, put it in my pack.
You could reasonably take all the paper.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, these
I
are
went 5
clipboards.
days.
So then I will take all
How
of the
many?
paper
How many of the canisters were there?
6.
Oh, there were 6.
and I put it in my pack and I
Only
say,
one.
we need to leave this room. We need to bring
This has
people.
nothing to do
Right.
with Eddie.
We
Right.
need to bring people back here. Once I tell the world they'll come here, somebody will be able to figure this
I know
out.
that this is our responsibility.
It is my responsibility
Why?
now. Because
I mean, you can make that choice. But
I
it
really
doesn't
didn't
have-
think you guys were going to do
It
that.
it doesn't have anything to do with Eddie, which is why we're here.
Stain,
Have you forgotten why we
we
came?
need to get out of here.
Regardless,
The fact
somebody
is,
needs to find
you
out about this.
you killed this person. We need to keep going.
We don't know that the person was necessarily functionally alive to begin with.
We need to go. We need to move. We'll deal with this later. I will deal with this later. If you want to absolve yourself of all of that, that's fine. I will deal with this later. Let's go. We are going now.
Yep, I'm walking out. I have no trouble walking
Yeah,
out.
I'm right behind Jimmy.
So further down the hallway is another airlock door.
Wait, is it? Oh, that's the second of the 2 doors in this hallway? Yeah.
No, down the hallway is the airlock door.
Yeah.
Across from where you are is just a normal wooden
I
door.
want to go look at that normal wooden door first.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll open it.
Filing cabinets.
Oh, just filing
I'll
cabinets.
go to the airlock door.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just kind of dreading what potential experiment we may find Eddie in at some point, but
Right.
keeping that to
Yeah.
myself.
I'll say there's filing cabinets in this one. We can always search it again. Let's continue.
There's a table with like a pencil and a notepad still on it. A
Oh.
chair.
I'll grab the notepad and then start walking down.
I was going to grab the pencil. I'll grab the pencil.
And as I'm walking down, I'll just look at it. Does it say anything of note?
It is just looks. It's a scribbles. It's writing,
Uh-huh.
but you're not sure what it says.
Okay, I'll just stick it in my pack then.
I mean, you could sit and read it, but it's nothing that makes sense to you. It's someone's notes on a document they were reading.
Oh, okay.
It's like fragments and phrases and citations. Do you open the door?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is also unpressurized. So going through it, you find the same thing, is that this one wasn't completely shut either. And so the other one is also ajar. It's basically the same exact thing.
More 6 more canisters.
No.
it's
This
a-
is the airlock chamber. There is a
that's
pair
right.
of boots on the floor in here that are old.
Are there more hazmat suits that are degraded?
More of the degraded, yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So then we just need to keep going.
So the next,
This place is a
I'm
tomb.
afraid to let you guys in the next place.
Yes, it's a tomb.
Okay.
That's what we knew it was going to be.
So you go in through this next door.
Surface was a tomb.
And instead of this being like the laboratory, it's a similar setup, but there's shelves with bell jars and glass containers, and
Is
there's
it specimens or is it just storage?
specimens.
Yeah,
That's
specimens.
exactly what it is. And
Yeah,
and this
pieces of
is
tissue.
on either side of the hallway. There's shelves and shelves of things. You can take some time to look at them if you'd like to.
I mean, I think I would say just we need to continue forward, and I would be just kind of like
Are they
glancing.
labeled? Is my only thing. Either I'm gonna look at one to see if either the top or it's somewhere on the
They
side.
are all labeled with a date and an experiment number.
I'm not
You
gonna check
could
beyond that.
guess
Yeah.
that. Okay, all right.
I just wanted to see if they were labeled. If they're unlabeled, that means
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and if I'm looking at them, are they just body parts or?
So some of them are body parts, some of them are two-headed farm animals. There are fetuses, there are insects. There are larger containers in the back that are a little more cloudy.
It's a gen lab.
The government was. I mean, I guess we can't be surprised they were doing this kind of testing, but this is.
Think about the time. Think about the testing the Nazis were doing at this time. It's terrible, but it's not that far off.
Does
Most of
anyone
modern medicine came out of what the Nazis did.
read the labels to see if they recognize any of the experiments
Yeah, I mean, I'll,
from the files that you found?
I mean, I probably saw
I
most
didn't- yeah, I
of them.
didn't
So
look
if
at
I
the
see,
file.
I would have
if I
read
see
maybe
an
one or two,
experiment-
just like I said, to see what they were.
Yeah, and you do see ones that correlate with what you saw. Like, for example, I mean, if you were to look at the dolly one, it correlates, or the cloning one, I mean. And then there are some that have the same number as the entity and the temporal portal.
If I see the entity and temporal portal one, I look at it. I stop. What is it?
What's going on, Jimmy?
This one has the same. This is the Mothman, or the entity. This was from that experiment.
Which one?
The temporal ring.
No,
one.
which jar?
This one.
There's 4.
There's 4. These 4.
And they're
Why would they
larger
have-
than all the rest.
And what's in them?
They're larger than all the rest.
Why
and
would they have?
Maybe they took samples of the creature.
what you see is almost like a
I'll pick one up actually.
like a time lapse in formaldehyde.
Yeah.
You see something that resembles a human baby, and then something that's a little different. There's almost no neck on the next one, and the eyes are bulbous. It continues until you get a creature that is large, but no neck, huge eyes, and small, stubby, flesh-colored wings.
Do the eyes have a color to them?
They're closed, yeah.
I'll. How big is it? How heavy is it? If I were to try and lift it.
20 pounds of formaldehyde.
Okay, then I'm not gonna pick it up. That's a lot.
And it's kind of like a
it's
big old
heavy.
pickle jar.
20 pounds of liquid.
That's
a lot
that's
of-
a good size.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I don't necessarily know how
What
much.
color
Oh, I was
is
thinking
it?
20 gallons.
What color
Yeah.
is the creature?
The creature is modeled dark skin and and pink flesh.
This is. Did the government create the Mothman?
There are bristles on the 4th one.
Oh, so to give you guys an idea, 5 gallons of water is approximately 42 pounds.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
roughly
20
2.5 pounds of
Yeah,
water,
this was 20
Yeah.
pounds of water, right?
or
Not
2.5
20
gallons of
Yeah,
water.
that
Yeah,
fits
this is-
perfectly.
Yeah, okay. There's 20 gallons of water.
I'll pull out my cell phone and take a picture of it.
Okay.
As close to that one as I can, and of all 4, like just all 4, and then close to that one.
So you said that the experiment for this was stamped failure at the end. So do you think they stopped at 4, or do you think there's a 5th one somewhere? And if there's a 5th, is there a 6th one somewhere?
Is the 5th one the one that they got? Did they grow it? Did it succeed and then it failed because it escaped? Did they make the Mothman? It would make more sense than it being just an entity in the world, but
Why would it only be here, and why would it have gotten out in the 60s and not before?
maybe it took time. Maybe it saw when it's escaped. If it's working with a temporal
Actually, that's
field,
a dumb statement. I'm starting to rethink what I just said anyway.
it
Yeah. Yeah, it could have easily escaped.
it could have known when would be the time to escape if it was working with temporal
And with
fields.
everything that was going on with the collapse of the bridge, that would be the time to take it down and either
They'd be
destroy it or
distracted.
bring it back.
The government would feel obligated to help, and if they kept all their personnel here, it would look bad. It'd be suspicious. So they sent people, and the distraction, something like that, maybe could have knocked out some power or something. Maybe there was more to it than that.
Oh my God. Do you think that potentially the government caused the collapse of the bridge as a cover to reclaim the creature?
It could be.
I mean, we're getting so far down conspiracy theories here.
We need to.
Let's keep moving towards trying to find something about Eddie.
This doesn't make this.
We can figure out all these things later.
Did the Mothman take Eddie so that we would one day come here and find this?
Well, that doesn't fit. Sightings basically stopped in '67 with the collapse of the bridge. And there's been minor sightings since then, but not many.
It might have known that this was the time. It could have known if it was working with time, if it could see forward, it would know when it would be needed, when people would be needed. Maybe nothing could have been done beforehand.
Okay.
We need to move forward. We're close to something. I don't know what, but we're close to something. Every footstep we take on this path has led us one step closer. Eddie has led us one step closer to figuring this out.
I'm rolling my eyes behind him, but I'm keeping focus.
So we'll continue forward.
Okay. This next airlock door is already open. You can see through the chamber. It's the same. There's no boots in this one.
No,
Has the smell changed since we started going through the airlocks?
It has gotten worse. Good question.
Worse, not better.
Is it
Right.
from the formaldehyde?
No.
No.
Forget, but
In here, you smell formaldehyde more than waste, but the smell had gotten worse the further you went in.
okay, and are we seeing, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to look back in the previous, effectively, room. Is there stuff on the floor? Is there a sludge on the floor? It doesn't make sense. Is there some kind of venting system in here?
There are vents above you. That could be what the smell is coming from.
All right. So then the other thing is what's running the vent system. So I'll come back and let you guys know. Hey, I think this horrible smell is coming in through the vents, like there and over there as I shine the flashlight to it.
Can we reach the vents? Are they too high?
If someone gave you a boost, you could reach them.
There's
stand on my
not- there's
tiptoes
not
as
red-
close as I can, but
There's not red dripping off of them, is there?
Here and there are red drips going to the floor.
Out of the vents.
No, not out of the
Okay,
vents.
that's. I don't know. We could fidget with these for. as
No,
long as we
I
should-
was just saying. I think I figured that part out.
I'm going towards the door.
Okay, so you step into the last chamber. Does everyone come in at the same time?
No, because the door's not that big. He goes in first, and then we trail in. I'll go second.
So the first thing, do you grab the wheel?
Yeah.
The first thing you notice is that there is resistance at this point.
Craigie.
What the fuck? This one's stuck.
Check and see if it's rusted.
And I'll look. Does it? No.
All right.
No.
Hit it with the crowbar a couple times. See, maybe it's something's locked in there.
I'll just give it some taps and then try.
Yeah, it takes some extra work. You have to leverage the crowbar,
And
but
yeah,
you're
I was
able
gonna
to.
say, I'll put the crowbar through it and then use that as kind of an extra leverage to turn.
And what it feels like is whatever's on the other side, it gives. Like you're maybe stronger than what's on the other side.
Oh. Okay.
But as you push it, if he stops pushing, it rolls back.
So I'm not even thinking about. I'm thinking about just opening
Okay,
it. If
so
nobody's paying attention, yeah.
Heave it,
Yeah.
it spins open, the door opens, and immediately the smell is fucking disgusting. It's worse than it ever has been.
Overpowered.
And now you're hearing chittering and bird noises, and you do hear hooves. And the door opens completely, and you see the small man.
Man.
He's familiar to all of you. You met him at the funeral.
There he is.
He is panicked to see you. He immediately starts clawing his face. He says, you must not be here. Pa will see you and take you through them. He'll take you.
What the hell's Darby O'Gill talking about?
What are you doing here?
You've got to be kidding
Pa
me.
will take you through the stars and you'll see them all. Oh, you can't. You have to go. You have to go right now. And then he'll turn and hurry, still scratching and pulling his hair.
Wait, get back here. Tell us what's happening here.
Do you follow?
I'm
Yeah,
gonna try.
I'll
I'll try and intercept him with the surgical tubing.
You're going to try to garrote him?
No, he's trying to Wonder Woman him.
I'm gonna try.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and grab him around the torso and the arm so he
He
can stop
turns
scratching
on
his
you like
face.
a little feral animal and
Look at him.
scratches you.
I'm gonna try and
and
dodge.
okay,
I'm gonna dodge it.
make a pull. Are you sure you want to dodge? Or you want to let him go? If you decide not to pull, you automatically fail.
Well, good. Let him go and just chase him.
You sure could. Or you could pull.
I don't know. He's not looking entirely stable.
Worst thing that happens is you die.
I'm just
Or
gonna,
worse, you don't have to die.
You get us all killed.
I'm just gonna let him. I'm just gonna let him go.
Let
and
him
chase
loose,
him.
yeah. So he scrabbles down the hallway
I'll run
to
after him.
Yeah.
3 filthy cots are at the end of this hallway. And you remember, thinking back to the dormitories, there were 3 beds missing. And he curls up on the middle one and begins rocking. You follow him?
Yeah, I'm following
He's
too.
covering his face and he's rocking and he's saying, once he's got you, once his eyes have you, he's got you till you die. He'll take
What are
you.
you talking about?
And he's not hearing you.
All right.
So, looking around the room, other than the guy in the bed, are there a fuck ton of animals
There's
in
a
here?
zoo in here. There's birds flying up at the top.
And how do they look? Do they look pretty sickly?
Yeah, they look like shit.
Okay.
There's deer in here. There's raccoons. There's
What?
mink.
What? Now it's driving me nuts. What in the hell are they eating and drinking?
And so there's four rooms in here that branch off. The doors have been busted off of them. 3 of the rooms have nests and cages and bowls and water. And there's any woodland. There's a fox in here, and it reeks. And they're all loud and insane.
Yeah.
They're all cohabitating.
And in the 4th room, it's pretty clean. There's animal waste on the floor. There's some leaves and grass in there. There's also a chair with a metal arm on the top that bends and a hoop. And in the middle of the hoop, there is a film that glistens like oil slick. It's connected to a large white electrical looking box, and there's a humming noise coming from that room.
This is it. This is the temporal
Stargate.
machine.
There are also filing cabinets in this room, and there's one filing cabinet.
I immediately head towards the file.
Move past all the animals.
Yeah, I will shut that.
You're gonna have to step over ducks and stuff.
That's fine.
What's everybody else
Kick the
doing?
geese out of the way.
What's everybody else
I'm
doing?
following Jimmy.
I'm gonna try and get the little man drunk.
You offer him. He's lost. He's essentially what's the word?
Catatonic.
Yeah, both catatonic, inconsolable.
Pour it in his mouth.
Catasolable.
He doesn't even let you. He'll bite you if you put your fingers
Tries
in
to
there.
bite. He's a little feral kid or something.
Well, he's a man.
He's a man. So if he's not paying attention, does he let me put the surgical tubing around him?
Where?
Around his torso? I want to.
Yeah, you could leash the little man.
Well, leash him in a tight. Boom. Now what?
Okay.
He can struggle all he wants. I've got him now.
As you're looking at him, you realize that he's 4.5 feet
Call
tall,
him back to town.
but Eddie wasn't that much taller than him.
Okay. Really? Eddie wasn't much taller than him. I looked closely at him.
It's not Eddie. You're
it's not
certain of
Eddie.
that.
Yeah.
Do you look at the other beds?
Sure. Since they're right there.
On the corner of one of the cots, you see some red Converse, and you see your name written on the side in pen. You remember doing that. You remember signing Eddie's shoe.
I take the shoes and I go, look!
So you two, the brothers, are in the temporal portal room. Mm-hmm. Where's Al?
Al is barely in from the airlock. Al pulls out the Glock, puts his back to the 2 walls, and I'm on watch.
Okay. So you call out, look. Do you guys look?
Are we in the same room, or are we?
You both went to the temporal portal
I wrote
room.
my name on Eddie's shoes.
You all wrote your name on his shoes.
These are Eddie's shoes.
Are you serious? I'm hollering down the...
These are Eddie's shoes.
You sure?
These are Eddie's shoes. Our names are on them. These are the red Converse.
What?
Jesus.
What?
Get in here.
Johnny, go check that. I'm gonna open these up. I'm gonna find. Hopefully they're not destroyed. There's something in here about the Mothman. I know it.
So you're at the file cabinet?
Yeah. So I'm going to the file cabinet. If he shouted, when we were on our way, I'd say go check. You know where we signed it. We both signed it in a specific place. Go check.
We'll start with the filing cabinet. You pull it open. It is helpfully organized by dates.
Okay.
Looking in the categories of dates, you see they're also rated by severity. There's a color system.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go to the very last one. Actually, no. I'll start with the first one.
So this stretches into the future.
Oh. Is there one near the date when Eddie was taken?
You could pull the file for that year
Yeah.
and look at it.
I'll pull that one and look. Yeah. No.
You don't see anything, but you can make a pull,
Yeah.
and you could probably find something.
I'll make as many pulls as you want.
And then, so we'll go back outside. You head out towards
So
Spain.
yeah, I mean, I'm kind of hesitantly walking back. Like, I mean,
you're walking through deers and squirrels.
Yeah, I do
It's a
believe,
madhouse in here. It's loud.
I believe Stain, but like I'm just kind of like, I kind of want to make sure, but I also am kind of worried about Jimmy. So I'm kind of like moving away from Jimmy, but keeping an eye on Jimmy.
No, I don't want to touch it.
There's a couple ferrets running around in there, but they're not really doing
I'll make sure
anything.
not to step on any.
Okay, so as you lift up this case, you see the spiral edge of a notebook.
I'll grab that. Yeah.
On the front, in what's clearly just a rushed writing, it says petty reports.
start of that, yeah.
This is not organized by date, but there's on each page there's a date and a time and location.
Okay. I'll flip towards the dates towards Eddie when he was destroyed. Or
You
when-
flip
or when he
through.
disappeared.
And you don't find the night that Eddie disappeared.
Uh-huh.
You find the night before.
Oh, yeah, I'll look in there.
Minor crime occurrence. 3 boys rob a drug dealer's house.
Free boy.
Oh man, it was our
There was
fault.
a crime the night before.
You guys.
And it goes on to explain how there was a cocaine theft, and one of the boys actually murdered one of the dealers.
Should have been you, Jimmy.
And then at the bottom, it says, further looking into this has discovered these are the boys.
Oh wow.
And it lists them.
And I'll read the names.
And it lists Eddie, and it lists Albert, and it lists Johnny.
Does it say who killed the person?
Eddie.
I don't remember that.
Busted.
And as you remember from the file, the Mothman is drawn to events of great distress. The first time he saw Eddie was that night.
Why was Eddie?
Right, and you're the only one that doesn't know.
Yeah,
Great.
Oh man, this is not good.
Why was Eddie in a... Why did they do that? Why would they have taken Eddie to... He was...
Maybe it was the
Why
only
didn't they
they could
tell
find.
me? Eddie killed someone.
As you were looking through the pages, you saw another name. You saw Sarah Jane.
Yeah, I'll look at Sarah's names. I'm flipping quickly to Sarah.
And there's some, she was abused by her parents and put into an orphanage, and the Mothman saw her too. And there's a page of just wildlife sightings: deers, ducks, geese, ferret.
Eddie, why is the moth... Did they use the Mothman to know... Did they use him to find out what happened with these?
So what you remember is that with using the temporal portal, you can see what the Mothman is seeing, or the entity. And this looks to be a catalog of everything that was witnessed by the scientists working with the entity. And in this petty reports, you can assume that these weren't national security issues, but they were worth noting.
So he followed Eddie. He saw the Mothman saw all this. They saw it. They saw him. So who took Eddie? Was it the Mothman? But is he just a they always said he was a harbinger. So he just watched, and did the government come and and I'll take this and I'll start walking back towards the door, probably just brushing past.
Okay, going back to the shoes, you can see the red Converse. You remember signing it. That's your name.
So, yeah. So what size are these? Are like kids' size shoes?
Nope, they're the shoes he was wearing the night he disappeared.
So these are prom night size shoes.
Mhm.
Okay. Right. So, kind of taking a look at those, confirming that is indeed the pair of shoes. I'm kind of personally finding some level of vindication from my belief that possibly Eddie's alive, but I'm also kind of worried about Jimmy, so I'll take a look and see what he seems to be doing over by the file cabinet.
I want to ask the little guy. I want to take the shoes. Go. Where'd these shoes come from?
He doesn't even look at you. And
It's the shoes, Jimmy.
as you all kind of come together, as Johnny's coming and Jimmy's coming, and you're near them and Al's by the door, the same feeling as the funeral and the factory is that you've all arrived here at the exact same time. And in less than a blink, the Mothman appears. He's a hulking figure, hovering above the ground 2 or 3 feet,
He's after you guys. I'm
with
safe.
leathery wings bent up and behind him. His eyes, the size of softballs and burning red, fill you all with an uncontrollable dread. You're sick to your stomach. You're shaking immediately. You all have to make a pull.
Everyone,
Okay.
including me.
Everyone.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
You want to go first?
I'll go first. Why not? Okay. Think about this.
Real quick, while they're doing that, did it say any more of who, like, was there a lead person in the robbery or anything like that? Or you just state names of who was there?
Names and what happened. It's very terse. This was unimportant to the observer.
Oh, that's fair. Oh my gosh.
And so it's kind of all fitting together for you. Is the Mothman is an unwilling witness, and the scientists were able to harness his visions and keep track of them.
Might be that bottom one.
No.
Yes, it is.
Over in this corner.
And so the animals are screaming at this point. Everyone's freaking out.
This is the creature's come. Yeah.
Maybe down the bottom.
He didn't come in through a door. He just became in the room.
Nice one.
Yeah, it's not over yet.
It's not over yet.
And Johnny, you seeing his eyes, you realize you did see him in the closet. And you did see him the night of the cocaine thievery. He was there.
Really?
And you forgot.
We've
You
done it
so
before.
what the rules say is you have to use one hand. You could use one
hand. Yeah, one hand with a pencil.
I think as long as you're just using one hand. Someone was just tapping it with like force, and it gave me so much anxiety once.
I don't remember who was.
I think that was Ty,
Yeah.
and he would just jab it, and it worked most of the time.
Surprisingly,
Yeah, I mean it wasn't a bad technique.
Josh, you luckily got one kind of shown to you.
That's what I was gonna check out. Was this one here?
Yeah, you got it easy.
Okay.
Okay, I just gotta get
Still
it
gotta
back
put
on
it
top.
on.
You've heard legend of the hypnotizing effect when you make eye contact with Mothman, but none of you are experiencing
So
that.
what I do is I come out and I'm
Yeah.
holding this book open, you'll all see. And I look up at the Mothman and I'm feeling that dread. I'm just like, I'm sorry, I thought you were evil. I thought you took my friend.
Let's take a split shot. All right, what are you thinking, Stain? The Mothman just appeared. It's
know.
the fucking Mothman.
What am I thinking, or what am I doing?
Thinking. This is in the second of you being like, oh my god, that's the Mothman.
What I'm thinking is I'm thinking about getting my friend back, and this is my only opportunity.
Johnny?
He was there. He was there this whole time. Albert, it's our fault, man. I mean, this is on us.
Albert?
Government incarnate.
Mass psychosis. There's no way this is real.
So you don't believe it.
Nope.
In the same breath as you all inhale from the adrenaline and you exhale, you are on a beach. There's sand under your feet, there's a moon above you, and an ocean spread before you. On the sand, there are men dressed in strange furs, and they carry crude iron weapons, and there are meteorites streaming from the heavens down onto them. You look to where the Mothman was when you were in the room. He's still there, but he cannot turn his face away from witnessing the meteorites fall and strike the Vikings. They're falling as the meteorites hit them. You can hear the flesh burning and smell it. And the Mothman stands transfixed. Someone needs to give me a pull.
Do we see each other, or are we
You,
effectively each
you're
see-
all,
Go, Josh.
your places in the room are
give you a pull if you want.
transfigured.
Go for it.
transmogrified?
I just can't die before my monologue.
I know what I'm doing. So, I had these shoes in my hand.
Uh-huh.
And I'm on the beach, so I still have the shoes in my hand.
You do.
Right? I'm gonna throw them at the Mothman and tell him, "Give me Eddie back.
So you chuck these Converse at the
Yeah.
Mothman at his head,
Give me my friend back."
and they connect solidly, and they bounce off. He doesn't flinch. He is watching the Vikings. And it clicks for you. He brought you here. He's the only thing that can bring you back.
Don't, Stain. We are meant to see this for a reason. He has to take us back.
And this stretches on for a while. These meteorites come down, and the Vikings aren't avoiding them. They're facing them. You don't understand their tongue. Some of you may recognize that they're speaking some form of Old Norse or Old English. And it goes on 10 minutes. And you
Yeah, I'll look.
understand that if you leave the Mothman's side, you will be stuck here.
We better not leave him.
We have to watch this as he does, as it does.
What does this have to do with us or Eddie?
You blink back into the laboratory. The Mothman rushes at Albert.
Dodge, Albert.
Yeah, I mean,
What do you do?
Shoot him.
say, wait,
I'm transfixed at this point.
I don't think he'll hurt you.
You don't believe him that he's real anyway.
No.
Another blink. You're in a city now.
Wait, we charged Albert. What happened?
you're no longer in the laboratory.
Oh, wow.
You're in a city. And there's a green hue to all the air around you, and the buildings you see are slick and chrome and unfamiliar. There are no cars on the streets, but there is a whizzing sound above you.
What?
Something, you don't know what, explodes into one of the buildings to your left, and it begins to crumble down.
Oh, wow.
In the same way, the Mothman is watching.
So I just watch with the Mothman. He's
Yeah.
obviously trying to show us something, so I'm
I'm
trying to
just gonna
capture as much information.
Watch and say, this is what you have to live with. You have to.
You flash now to it's obviously another country, and it is something that's not necessarily familiar by sight to you, but you recognize the structure of the buildings, and it's kind of like the mud and grass walls, and there is a small toddler crying outside the front, and there's a fire. The thatching on the roof is on fire, and the Mothman blinks back to the laboratory, but then you're back there again.
Back
And
to where the fire is burning?
the fire's no longer burning. It's obviously charred, and you watch the Mothman walk into the burned husk of the house, and you see him pick up the child. Do you stay with him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll follow along.
What is he trying to show us?
That's his first attempt at changing things.
Can
You
interact? Oh, that's what
blink
I'm saying.
back to the laboratory, and now he lunges at Johnny.
So I will stand there and ask myself, what is he trying to show us?
His claws slice through your suit into your flesh, and you know that this is a serious wound.
Oh, I do. I believe this. I've had this serious wound ever since Eddie disappeared.
And then he wheels around, and now he's going for Stain.
Wait, stop.
And you can make a pull to evade him.
Okay.
What are you trying to show us? What is the purpose of this? Why are you attacking? We've done nothing. We followed where you wanted us to.
And
Oh,
you'll
I'm gonna go
hear,
one-handed.
yes, you'll hear the small man. He's been shrieking this entire time, but this is the first time that you can make out what he's saying. And he says, you have to go, you have to leave. And then you successfully sidestep him, and you blink again. You're familiar now. You know where you are. You're in the TNT area, and you're all looking at yourselves walking in the forest.
It's just us.
And you see the back of Eddie's head.
Eddie.
It's Eddie.
Does he respond to us?
He turns to look at you.
I reach out to touch him.
You do?
Yeah. Is he real?
He's pretty far away.
I'm gonna move to try and make contact with him.
Okay.
I'll say, Stain, don't.
You grab Eddie's arm, and the rest of you flash back to the laboratory. You have Eddie's arm.
Just the arm?
You have your...
It's important to know, is it just the arm or is it everything else?
Key
attached?
distinction.
So you are holding Eddie's arm attached to his body, and
Okay,
he
good.
turns like me. He says, "Let go of me! Who are you?" And
So
the
I-
rest of you turn and look, and you're looking at yourself 20 years ago. What would you have done if you saw someone grab your friend?
I would have done everything I could to protect him.
Okay, so what would 17-year-old Stain have done?
17-year-old Stain would have gone to punch an individual, probably to try and protect Eddie.
Okay, we're gonna go back to the laboratory. You're back in the laboratory. The Mothman, he seems angry. You don't know how you can tell.
What do you want? We found all of this.
And Stain is now gone.
We can tell people about this. What they did to you. They held you here. They used you. We don't want that. We want this to end. We'll destroy the object for you so they can't use it to see. And that's when it kind of clicks in my head.
Make a pull.
Oh, no.
He doesn't attack again. He's looking at you.
So, you've had to suffer for how long through this, and then we try to tap into and use you when you have to suffer? No, this isn't what we want. I wanted to find what happened to Eddie. Can you I think I know. Can you show me what happened to Eddie? Just so that I know, and I will destroy the object for you. I'll make so nobody can see into your mind again. Just let me know.
You blink. You're still in the laboratory. But Eddie is curled up on the cot.
Okay.
He's got his shoes beside him, and he looks feverish, and he's coughing. And he looks weak. And the small man is beside him, rubbing his back, but Eddie's coughing, and you can see that there's blood in his phlegm.
Eddie, you...
And the Mothman watches.
I know what happened to you, Eddie. You ran away. You killed somebody because those idiots took you to a drug deal. You were guilty, you probably ran. You tried to hide, you got too much of this damn DNT into you, and now you're dying.
He's got glassy eyes, but he'll look at you, and there's yellow mucus coming from the corners. And he goes, Jimmy? Donnie? Al?
And I'll try and sound like I'm younger. Yeah, it's me. It's Jimmy.
Are you real?
In a way. Why'd you run, Eddie?
I didn't run. He got me, and
The Mothman?
he
The red eyes?
tries to keep us safe, but he's not. Are you real?
I'm real enough, Jimmy.
He'll cough again, and
His name's Eddie.
Eddie. Whatever, I'm sorry. So, Eddie. Thank you. So, Eddie, yeah. I'm real enough.
And he'll look at you all, and he'll go, I'm real sick, guys. I don't feel good.
I know. Maybe it'll be over.
Then you blink again. And now you're outside. And the small man is digging a grave in the soil outside of the factory. And Eddie's body is beside it. And then you blink again. And there's torrential flood moving across the grounds.
Okay. Was Eddie in the vision 10 years older? Was he? Yeah, he was? Okay. Yeah, so...
Back to prom night.
Prom night.
You land the first punch. Young Stain hits you square in the face. How do you respond?
Wait, you said young Stain hits me square in the face.
Young Stain hits Old Stain.
Oh, right, I'm looking at myself. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And what would the rest of you do if you saw a strange man with a bunch of weird shit on himself?
I'd probably say, Johnny, you go right. Al, you go left. Let's get him. Get the fuck off of Eddie. And we'll just charge over, and we're just gonna start beating the shit out of you, probably.
My name's Stain.
Stain, yeah, whatever. I can't get the names straight in my head.
If the strange man is not Stain, I mean,
Yeah.
or the strange...
Do you let go of
Strange man
Eddie?
Grabbed Eddie.
So I'm...
Yeah, a strange rando dude just popped out of the woods and grabbed Eddie.
I say, Eddie, it's me, Stain.
He's like, let go of me, you freak.
It's me.
And
I say, and what I say to Stain, or what I say to Eddie, is something. Remember when your mom was so mad at us when we came home,
And that's when all three of us punch you in the mouth.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, from after running through the creek.
And
you
no,
know,
so they're on you. Do you keep talking?
Yeah, I keep talking to try to get through to Eddie.
How far would you guys go?
I mean, we would just get him. If we got him off and like threw him away, I think that's when I would say, all right, stop.
Would Adult Stain stop? Would he ever run away?
I'd probably take one of the Molotov cocktails and bash it up against one of the kids' heads. Get off of me!
So which kid?
I'm being attacked by like 3 kids. They're trying to kill me.
Actually,
Whoa,
4.
5.
That's right. Eddie's probably not going to step back.
So
you end up
obviously
hitting
I'm
yourself.
not getting through to Eddie at all.
No, they're all freaked out by it. I mean, because you're an imposing figure.
Right, but I'm trying to like kind of jar him to the point, say something only he knew that Stain would know.
So there's
You know what I mean?
a potential of Eddie believing you, but you're a grown man in the dark, and
Is it dark?
yeah, it's after prom night. It's probably 11:30
Do I still have
midnight.
my red flash on? I'm like, it's me.
They're not listening.
Yeah,
They're
none of
freaking
us are gonna
out.
believe-
They're all
I don't think
trying to
any of
fight
us will
you.
believe you.
All right. So I'm gonna let Eddie go.
Okay.
Right, because I don't want to kill one of you. Right, and after I'm gonna let him go and be like, Eddie, it's me. I'm just like,
So they run off into the woods. Do you chase?
Stay the fuck away from us, old man.
I'm all, Johnny, it's me.
And then, but as they leave into the brush, you see the Mothman watching them.
Okay.
And he looks at you,
All right.
and he blinks away.
All right. So now I'm out here by myself.
Back to the flood. So you're watching the flood happen. It's running over your feet, and you know that it's going to be intense soon. You know this is the flood that washed Eddie into town.
This is what. And then these two are with me.
Yes,
Okay.
and the Mothman.
And, like, do we have any memories about this event that may or may not have happened? Like,
The only person I think that was around for the flood is me. Right?
No.
I mean-
Yes.
Oh.
Good question, Josh. You absolutely do.
Oh.
But the thing is that it's not a new memory. You just have a memory of this weird thing happening. And what's happening in your mind right now is that the two conflicting timelines are pushing up against each other. And you're standing, above the grave of your friend, but he's home living at his mom's house. He's fine. And you blink again, and nothing has happened. You're all living your lives how you would have if Eddie had never died. With the exception of Stain.
oh,
I'm living differently.
You
Yeah.
are stuck on prom night.
All right.
Where would you have gone from there as an adult? You are sure that Eddie is alive and that he's evaded the Mothman.
He's evaded the Mothman. Now I've taken Eddie's place.
Nobody came and got you.
Nobody came and got me.
Nobody knew to come and get you.
I'd walk home.
You'd walk home. To where?
Well, I mean, do I know where home is?
I mean, what is home to you?
We're talking the adult?
The adult,
The adult
Stain.
is in the kids'
adult
time.
thing.
The-
Oh, in the kids' time. So my car's not parked at the,
No.
Oh.
You don't have... I mean, unless you were to take over Kid Stain's identity,
Well, then, and the Mothman's gone.
he's gone.
Everyone else is gone. The kids are gone.
They're gone.
All right, so what I would do is I would walk. Well, shit, I don't know. I mean, how far away is the research facility?
It's about 5.5 miles.
I'll probably start heading that way.
Okay, what would you do when you got there?
I'd probably find my way back to the lab where this all started. And is the midget still in the bed?
So the small man...
Or small man, sorry.
this is 17 years ago, right?
This is 17 years ago.
Or 20 years ago.
20
right?
years ago.
20 years.
Yeah, 20 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, so he's
Around
not
two
would have been alive
decades.
yet.
He had his car
I
keys.
guess
So
I went through the
he-
labs where the
he is
experiments
down
were
there.
Still it's the
He is
same car
down
from
there.
20 years ago.
He would.
But the woman that you drained the fluid of is still in her tube.
When it's full of fluid? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Do you go through and try to find the Mothman again?
I'll see if he's there.
Okay, he's not in there when you get in there, but the small man is.
Then I'm gonna go lay on one of the cots
Okay.
and just observe the little man.
So he freaks out the same way as when you first came, and he'll curl up in the fetal position again.
I just hang out. I think in my mind that I've taken Eddie's place. I've traded places with Eddie so that Eddie could be free.
Okay. And so you just live down there?
I mean, he's away from Crystal.
And I
down
sit there and I'll sit down there on that cot until I see the Mothman again and try and figure out a way home.
So he'll take you home, and
Yes.
the Mothman.
Oh, so he shows up at some point? Mm-hmm. He's like, all right.
This
you-
is his domain. Yeah, and
Alright.
he'll return you to the future, where you'll merge with the other timeline, and you'll have all lived your lives as if Eddie had never gone missing. What would be different? That's my question for you. We'll start with Josh.
What would have
Oh,
been
man.
different is if Eddie had never disappeared?
Right, in this new reformed timeline, Eddie never went anywhere.
Yeah, in this new timeline, my brother and I were best friends. We're getting along super well. We're actually still really good friends with Al and Stain, but we don't call him Stain anymore. And so, the nexus point that sort of scattered us to the ends of the country has never happened, and as a result, we kind of all stayed, at least in my view, we kind of all stayed closer. And I never moved to New York, or ended up getting divorced. So maybe Johnny has a wife and a couple kids and works in a similar job but locally, making much less but being much happier.
Okay, Albert?
I wouldn't have gone to jail. either time. Instead of moving away to start a new life, I would have stayed here. Probably would have taken over the Village Pizza Inn and be the owner of that moving forward.
Okay. Well, I imagine that before that I was. It said that. I mean, scholarships, awards. I mean, I imagine I got a scholarship for football in college. Went to a good school. Got a sports in. Torn ACL second year. Just studied. Went towards academics. Went on to be surprisingly a writer. Wrote horror stories. Yeah, go back and see the family. Me and my brother talk still. I still talk with Eddie a bunch. His mom still hates us, but still probably come over once Thanksgiving hits, go over.
She never forgave us for getting him stuck in those caves.
Some reason every time I see Eddie, I want to just give him a big hug, and I do. So never really know why, but yeah, and just kind of get a wife, have a single kid, and just.
Did you end up marrying Crystal?
Ooh, good question. She was your high school sweetheart.
Yeah, let's say.
This is the happy ending.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let me see. Yeah, you know what? I'll say. Actually, you know what? I'll say this. I did end up sticking with Crystal, but during college, it turned out she had a bit of an addiction problem. So I ended up, we fell out there. I learned some lessons.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
And so then after that, I met. My actual wife after that, had a bad breakup, went somewhere out with some friends, met somebody, and just kind of fell from there. Had a kid and never looked back.
Stain?
Still with Crystal.
Instead of, nope, not with Crystal. Did not end up with Crystal. Instead of living in the, in the family back, swampland making moonshine, he went into formal business and started the Kentucky Bourbon, the Old State Kentucky Bourbon Company, legitimately branded, and brought on his friends Al and Jimmy, or Johnny, Jimmy, as the CFO and then director of marketing and sales, to become and to run a successful, affluent bourbon business.
Hell yeah. And then since you saved Eddie, what did Eddie's life look like?
Oh, and Eddie was also part of the company.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eddie grew up, in his adult life, worked for the company, had a beautiful wife, and beautiful, kids. And
He got Crystal.
And
Crystal got everybody.
It's what,
And he grew
it's
tall.
what we always wanted as kids, as we talked about, growing up and being together and enjoying
He had
things.
that weird late growth spurt. It's between 17 and 18. He hit 5'8".
Hell yeah.
And
I always had the red.
Jumping
I
there.
kept the red Converse always, and they sit in a glass case in the headquarters, and I know, in the back of my mind,
He knows what it means.
I know what
Okay.
those shoes mean.
Okay.
I'm the only one that knows what those shoes mean.
And that will conclude Act 3. Thank you
All
guys.
right.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sequoia.
Yeah, of course.
Since you won, you get to knock over the James.
Hell yeah,
Tower.
Dave.
Man, I can't
Did I
believe
win?
that.
I didn't know I
You
was
got the
winning.
last one.
You guys screwed my whole plan up.
Oh, man.
All right.
There's
Psyche
one
died.
right behind you.
Okay.
Hey, I can't believe.
Thank you for joining us on another NCRP Productions podcast. We couldn't do this without you, so please like and subscribe everywhere we're found, including YouTube, Facebook, Anchor, Google, Apple, Spotify, and other great podcast sites. If you'd like to help us continue making more content, we'd love to have your support on our Patreon. And if you have any feedback for us, please feel free to comment on our podcasts or email us directly at ncrpproductions@gmail.com. And we'd like to give a special shout out to our current patrons, our Siegson Employees of the Month, FS, Michael H., Michael P., and our Breaker of Seals, the Jones, Frank H., Christopher C., Matthew K., and the Lab. Trademarked. Thank you all. We truly, truly appreciate it.